Here is my most disturbing comic book I have ever read. Please leave a like while the intro plays. How's it going, everybody? My name is Jordan and welcome to Basement Collectibles. And if you're new here and you like comics, toys, movies, and arcades, please consider subscribing to my channel for more great content. So just a quick disclaimer, I'm not going to be showing any graphic pictures of or about the comic book. I'm just going to explain a little bit of the plot and what really disturbed me about the comic book. So again, no graphic pictures, just want to keep it as clean as possible. So I'm a huge 80s horror fan. I enjoy, watching Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Pinhead, and early 90s horror movies as well. So once I graduated from college, I started going back to the comic book store. I got into reading The Walking Dead, and I just happened when I was actually working, I stopped by a comic book shop, and I just was speaking with the comic book store owner, and I was just asking him, I really like The Walking Dead. Is there a certain book that you have in mind that's similar to that? And he kind of paused and he said, well, I do have one book in mind. And I was like, okay, is there something wrong? He's like, no, if you enjoy the horror side of it and you like graphic content, this is definitely the book that you want to read. So he gave me the comic book. It was actually a graphic novel. It was volume 1 of the series. And he said, at least you'll have more, you'll get to read the whole story rather than just one piece of the comic. So I brought it home, and on my way home, I was just looking at the front cover. It didn't seem too crazy. And I just, obviously I've already grew up on Lobo. So the graphic content in the early 90s, that didn't faze me when I was a kid. Read The Walking Dead. It wasn't too bad. Survived Glenn getting beaten up, obviously, or killed, with a baseball bat. So I thought, how bad could this really be? So the comic book that I'm referring to is Crossed Volume 1, created by Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. When I first started into the book, it wasn't too bad. Starts off with people at a restaurant, and all of a sudden apocalypse breaks out. People that have marks on their face, obviously as the cross symbol, started killing them, but it's the way they started killing these people that I could not shake out of my head. The Key Collector app calls it or describes the story as an infectious plague causes its victims to carry out their darkest, most brutal desires. So in the part of the story that really got me was, again, I was going to try to research a bit more. I don't have the book with me right now, and I'll tell you a reason why. But I didn't really want to look it up again. I don't really need to see the pictures again of what was really disturbing. But what I can recall is that it's a husband, wife, and a son. And I guess the husband was stuck in, let's say, a Walmart, and he was on top of a skid. Either he was trying to hide from these cross people. He ends up breaking one of the bags of, it's either sugar or flour, and the sugar or flour just went all over the floor. And I guess these crossed people were walking by, and they either for some reason left him alone. So the husband thought it had to do something with the sugar or flour, so he grabbed himself a bag. So then all of a sudden in present time, it shows the wife and the husband and the son running away from these cross people, and one of them trips. And I remember it was either the wife or the husband, and they say, just to get going, save the son. And the husband says, no, I have this bag / flour. So he opens the bag and he puts them in within a circle of the flour / sugar. And the cross people come up. And right when I'm turning the page over, because the husband's thinking it's going to be okay, I open this double spread of this comic book. And what I can see, and the poor kid in the background, what's happening to him, and the wife and the husband are arguing, and what's happening to them is so horrific. Again, you're welcome to Google it if you'd like, but I don't want to post the picture. They're arguing, and she's just screaming at him saying, why didn't you run? Why didn't you protect our son? And it took me a minute. I stopped reading, and I just had to honestly just take a minute, because that's like the most disturbing thing I've seen in a comic book by far. I'm sure there's probably many other books that are a lot more graphic than Crossed. I did end up finishing the book, surprisingly. After I got over what I saw, I did keep on reading. The story wasn't as bad as I thought, but there was definitely some things where it's like, holy smokes, like they went that far. Like, I'm really surprised. I guess I just, I mean, like I said, reading Lobo and The Walking Dead to see stuff like that, how far they can push, or at least how far the writers and the artists can push what you see on the panels. But yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's more out there, or I'm sure some of you have read or at least seen more disturbing things in a comic book. But definitely for me, Crossed Volume 1 was the most disturbing comic book I've ever read. So what did I end up doing with the book? Well, that's a good question. I ended up bringing it up north with me to show some of my buddies, just people that have read, same thing, I've read Lobo in the past or enjoy the horror graphic side of comic books, and showing them too. Just especially that page, they were like, this is pretty crazy. This is pretty screwed up. And I remember I gave it to one buddy to read. He finally read it. He gave it back to me. I had another buddy. He read it. He gave it back to me. And then I ended up watching the movie The Ring, where the whole idea is that you pass the VHS around. As long as someone else sees it, then you're not cursed, let's say. So one of my other buddies wanted it, and he was living far away. I gave it to him. He called me one day. He's like, do you want your Cross book back? I said, no, give it to somebody else. Let someone else read it, throw it out. I don't want it back. I don't need it in my collection. It was a one-time read. So who knows whatever happened to that book. Did he keep it? Did he pass it along? So he's not cursed now like The Ring. But that's as far as I got with the book. So let me know in the comments below if you've either read Crossed or have heard about Crossed, or dare I ask, what was more disturbing that you've read comic book wise in the last 20 years. I don't know if I'll check the books out, but I'm definitely curious to see what's even worse than the comic book Crossed. So that's it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for the new subscribers. I've noticed that about 70% of you are just coming by to say hi. If you don't mind, please leave a like, comment, and possibly subscribe. And this Friday, I'll have the top 3 spec books out for the month of June. So I'm looking forward to that. And have a good week, guys, and we'll talk soon. Here is my 500th subscriber giveaway contest. You have a chance to win Strange Academy #1 in a 9.8. All you have to do is like, comment, and be subscribed to my channel. Good luck, everybody.